Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Well. It took years for it to happen, but we finally have an Ultraman podcast on this channel. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Morphin Network, where we are doing the premiere episode of the inaugural season of the UltraQuest podcast here on the Morphin Network. And I'm Mike, aka Time Rider Zero, your host from way back in the Rider Time podcast. And with me is a very special guest. Steve, care to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Vasquez. I am a longtime tokusatsu fan. I've been friends with Mike for what now? Like almost
since 2012, actually.
Yeah, so 10 years. 10 years. And always wonderful to come be with you, Mike. It's wonderful to be here again.
Yeah. For those of you who are not aware, Steve did collaborate with us on the Buttery Show, where we did the live-action One Piece review. And if you haven't checked that out, please be sure to do so after this podcast. It was a very fun podcast. I did not think it would take 3 hours, but
I didn't think so either.
If you really think about it, it's actually kind of true to the series because it's almost 1,100 episodes.
Mm.
Somehow Kamen Rider still has more than that.
Yeah, but Kamen Rider you could easily watch in like a sit down, whereas One Piece, it depends on how you take the medium.
Yeah, the thing with Kamen Rider is that it's a season per episode, so you could just start anywhere. But let me tell you, watching Sky Rider in 3 days is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because it's the second longest season behind the original Kamen Rider.
Oh, well, it depends on the Kamen Riders. I mean, I know a lot of people have told me or said to me, I've said that one of my favorite riders is Kiva. And just so his motif, his look, and how it went. But a lot of people were like, oh my God, it's so hard to get through that. I don't even know what's going on. I'm like, I get the feeling, but I also say that both that double and oh my God, what was it? Kabuto had the same problem, and yet they are regarded as like top tier writers in their stories.
Yeah.
It takes a minute.
Yeah, I'll say this. With Kiva, it's like they handled the whole time jumping thing better than The Witcher did. And we all love The Witcher. So And honestly, like when I was like rewatching literally every season in 2018 to 2019 because Geo was airing at the time, I still cried in episode 46.
Yeah. That's a tough one to get through.
But yeah, no, for me, Ultraman's a little bit more challenging of a series to, jump into compared to Kamen Rider. And it does make me reflect a lot onto what aspects of Power Rangers you really liked as a kid. Like, do you like the civilian fights? Do you like the on-site morphed fights? Do you like the
giant robot
fight? It's like you get these three components, and if you really think about it, Kamen Rider and Ultraman kind of split off in that aspect where it's like Kamen Rider has the on-site fights, while Ultraman has the kaiju fights, while Sentai's in the middle, having both of those two things.
Well, yeah, no, because again, it's like Ultraman was first in terms of television tokusatsu.
Oh yeah.
Then came 66, and then came Kamen Rider
71,
and then came the Sentais in 75, 76.
Yes, 1975, and then although if you're gonna be real technical about it, 79 because Battle Fever J at the giant.
The Battle Fever J thing. Yeah, the actual formula, what is now Super Sentai / Power Rangers, started with Battle Fever J. We should do a video about that because I've got some info. for people who don't know, it's going to be like your jaw drops when you know about this stuff. But
yeah, no, I am still surprised it was based on literally Captain America.
yeah. But in terms of Ultraman, I mean, it was the popularity of Godzilla. Godzilla started it all, and so they decided. And I mean, the first Ultra series was Ultra Q, and their first monster was a monster that was literally a refurbished Godzilla suit.
Yep.
So, and it was even in the movie Shin Ultraman that they referenced that when they pulled out the same thing, but it's Shin Godzilla as the monster for that.
And I noticed like the concept design for Mechagodzilla has been reused in so many series. I mean, obviously you got Dragon Caesar and Zyuranger. You got Riser Ross from Genseiken Just Riser. You even have like you even have a Mechagodzilla looking thing in this season as we go later into it.
Yes, I got to him and I was like, what? But then my mind was thinking not to, go forward in the series much. But I'm like, I don't recall Ultraman ever, like, I know he's used monsters before as allies. I know he's used like the capsule kaiju and all that. I was kind of, my head when I saw this giant robot, this Giron, as he's called, I'm like, Ultraman doesn't combine with anything unless he's using like capsules or the gimmick that they use. But I'm like, I think this is just a robot that they're using as a partner, as the past like Ultraman like Zero and Ginga used like their own partners like Gamora and other mechs, other mechanical monsters. But it's again, Ultraman, as you said, is a hard series for people to get into, especially within the American Toku fandom. I mean, we grew up with the starting gate was Power Rangers. Yeah. And then from the Power Rangers came VR Troopers, Beetleborgs,
both Metal Heroes, Saban's Masked Rider.
Saban's Masked Rider. And then other companies were jumping in. I think the first Ultraman for the 90s kid that they would remember would be Superhuman Samurai Squad. which was Gridman, and they did an anime for Gridman, which I highly recommend people to watch.
Seriously, when I see Gridman on Tokusatsu and I see like the main villain on screen, I always like to jokingly dub over his face with a Tim Curry impression. Malcolm, why are you copying my files? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Only copying half of you took up 128 floppy disks. And then he goes on to be like, he keeps on saying, put on more lights. And that Christmas VHS tape, because that's the only episode I've watched on repeat.
That's the thing. And I mean, even if you do get your hands on like the original Ultra series or the Ultraman that was back in the 70s, it's a very interesting dub that they did. Yeah. So I mean, are people actually surprised that Gridman Servo got the treatment that it did? Yeah, I'm not. But I mean, it is the thing. It's like you said. What do you want out of the Japanese TV show? Do you want the giant robot fights? Do you want the casual? Do you want the hero versus the kaijin? I mean, what is it that you want? And that's pretty much what Ultraman is that you have them special task force military, as always, fighting giant monsters, which I'm like, how the hell does that work?
Yeah, and of course, this is our inaugural episode of both premiere episode and inaugural season for the UltraQuest podcast, which is Ultraman Blazar episode 1, First Wave. Yeah. And I think like I've been like teetering on like whether or not to do an Ultraman podcast on this channel, because I'm gonna be honest, between the big 3 tokusatsu, it's the one I'm the least familiar with, and like we just discussed, it's one of the hardest of the 3 to get really into because well, we could go more into that, but also it's like, at what point should we start reviewing? And I think it's very appropriate that we're starting with Blazar, and it's very appropriate that you are my co-host for the inaugural episode, because this is the first season to have a simuldub for Ultraman. Now, Ultraman has been dubbed in English before, and we're going to get a little bit into that in a bit. But this is the first season to be simuldub in English. Obviously, simuldub is used loosely. It's like in the same weeks, like within 24 hours, just like any other anime series, like Black Clover or JoJo or whatever. But yeah. So like, and it just so happens that the English voice actor for the main character is someone that you and I are both very familiar with.
Yeah,
Johnny Hanabashi.
I was surprised. I was legitimately surprised last night when I decided to watch it, because I was like, you know what, I've heard and I've seen some stuff. I'll give it a shot, and then I go on to for those who don't know, you can actually go on YouTube, and Ultraman does have a YouTube page that does give the episodes both in Japanese and the simulcast dubs. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to read subtitles late at night. I don't want to read subtitles late at night. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna get me a drink, sit down. I got the hookah lit. Let's see. And then finally, I hear our boy Johnny Bosch talking. I'm like, hey, Johnny, how you doing? Like, so you're an Ultraman now.
Now you're just gonna be a Kamen Rider.
Now you gotta be a Kamen Rider, and you have the trifecta.
Like you and I have been to like so many shows with Johnny, and like I don't know if you were there for that particular show, but there was one time at 2nd Street where like how like across the street, you got Anime Jungle and they got those Matsuri masks, right? Yeah. So there was like one particular show where I actually got a Kamen Rider Ichigo Matsuri mask, and like Johnny actually put it on. So I'm like, you did. It's consistent to his character on Bleach because like I don't know if like they use that in the Japanese language, but like in the Arankar arc, what's his name? The holified Ichigo, the pure white one, like he is referred to as Kamen. Which makes sense because like he gets the holified mask. So I'm like, if Visored Ichigo gets a motorcycle, then he is a Kamen Rider Ichigo.
Well, I mean, even Kubo said that, it's a thing about anime, and I tell this to people all the time, and I mean, some people are like they're down to listen, but majority of them are not. When they know when I talk about Godzilla, Ultraman, Sentai, Kamen Riders, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so dorky." That's so. Even people in Japan that I've met through college or just in life, but just talking specifically about the weebs, it's amazing how much tokusatsu is in anime, and like the references are there. If you know. Sometimes like. You're watching like of course Bleach. Taikubo said
Mashiro.
that Mashiro, and it's seeing the Karakura 8, the filler that they did, with Donganonji.
Donkanoji, yeah. Like they even had a Sentai episode where it's like Karakura red, Karakura black, Karakura yellow, Karakura pink. It's like Donkanoji.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I was just like, isn't this fitting that Johnny is part of this show? And it's just like, it sucks that you weren't in those episodes, Johnny. I know they were filler, but I mean, it's so fitting. But again, I mean, Kubo, the creator of Naruto, One Piece, they were all kids, and so they reference tokusatsu in anime. You look at Akira Toriyama with the Ginyu Force. They even did that for Dragon Ball Z Kai. They gave them their own.
One of my most favorite story arcs in Dragon Ball Z was the Great Saiyaman saga. And
the Great Saiyaman was a reference to the Kamen Rider. Especially look at his helmet.
Take a look at his pose.
And his pose.
I am the Great Saiyaman.
Take a look at, again, Bleach with the Karakura 8. Even some of the Arankars were kind of Sentai based.
Yeah.
And Rider based.
Yeah, and even in Pokemon, we had the great Excel Guard, who was very clearly a Kamen Rider. And his arch nemesis, like Dr. Cryogonal, was a reference to to Dr. Shinigami, aka Ika Devil. So that was kind of cool.
Yes.
And even like the vanilla mooks, like they literally look like shockers.
Yeah, and they even, I mean, even what was it that even when you see henchmen in anime, whether the grunts, whatever, you always hear the shit or like shit, like that's an Ichigo reference. That's yeah. So whenever you hear that, it's like hearing the Wilhelm scream, like randomly in a movie. It's like, yeah, it's a reference to something. So tokusatsu is just as vital to anime as waifu and cat girls are to anime itself.
Like even Evangelion did a reference to Kamen Rider with the double rider kick, and then subsequently the Mario movie did a double rider kick.
Yes, I mean, also I forget who, I think it was my friend Kevin. Shout outs to you, Kevin, if you're watching, if you hear this. He was talking to me at Japan World Heroes, and he was like, we were talking about the Ultraman movie that came out, and it was like, isn't it crazy that Evangelion is just a more adult, grittier version of Ultraman? And I was like, what? Like, yeah, think about it. There's a boy has a capsule that he, giant robot, but it's not really a robot.
It's a biological alien.
It's a biological alien and fights aliens from outer space. And he uses different techniques and weapons, and it can be sometimes gruesome. Is that not Ultraman, but more like an anime? And I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Yeah, heck, even Attack on Titan is a mecha anime.
Yeah, Attack on Titan is a mecha anime, but also very similar to an Ultraman series. It's because it's like you got these tall, gigantic. Let's be honest, Ultraman and the Ultra people are literally running around naked around Japan, and just kicking each
also there's
butts.
A time limit on how long you could maintain your Ultra Titan form.
Yeah, there's a time limit, so it's like right there. I'm like, Ultraman, right there. Ultraman.
Oh, and they're both solar powered too.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes,
they are.
Like they can't move around at night. They only attack during the day.
Yeah, the Titans are not nocturnal. They can only move around in the day, and Ultraman is the same. Well, Ultraman can walk in both, but again, the time limit is what. But he does get energized by the sun. So very much so. So right there, ladies and gentlemen, put the string on the board. Ultraman is connected to Attack on Titan. Confirmed.
And also they're both like use the same allegory of like the perseverance of the Japanese spirit after the World War II and whatnot.
yeah, especially but I think with Attack on Titan, I think Aaron took it way too far. That's an Ultraman show that I would love to see, just like an Ultraman that's gone through so much. And
but with that said, if anyone wants to make an Attack on Titan music video, you're welcome. I just gave you a Blue Oyster Cult song to work with, okay?
Yeah, very much so. All right. So yes, Ultraman Blazar. Yeah. Our boy Johnny Bosch is in there.
Yeah. Last time I met him was a few weeks ago. He's like, "Hey, Mike, are you gonna watch the Kamen Rider Geats finale tonight? I know you're following up on Blazar." Wait.
So did Johnny told you that?
Yeah.
Oh, when did you see Johnny?
Collecticon.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, I was working. I was like, oh, Johnny's there. I'll try to go, but this past few weeks has just been busy as all hell.
Yeah, Ryan got 2 tickets there, and Clement wasn't able to make it, so I went Clement's place, and both of us really wanted to see Chuck Norris, who was supposed to show up, but unfortunately,
I heard he didn't.
Yeah, he canceled, unfortunately, because I studied Tongsudo just like Blake Foster, so I wanted to meet my master's master. You got to know your lineage.
Yeah.
But still, I got to meet what's his name, Charles, who played Mario. I got to meet
name.
Yeah, and I got to meet Johnny, which is good, and we got to make some cool vlog footage. So stick around for that. But yeah, no, I love how Johnny's keeping up with Kamen Rider just to tease me about it.
You know what? If they start simulcast dubbing Kamen Rider, which I'm like,
Johnny, you better.
Johnny better be just like in this Blazar. Johnny best. I mean, let's. He can do a young boy voice. He can be Gotchard. He can be Gotchard if he wanted to.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, like you would have to use his Renton Thurston voice, rather than his Ichigo voice. It's like Erica, I'm gonna do a kickback drop turn.
Especially with him talking to the train and the grasshopper carts.
Yeah. No, like if it was Gates, like I could see him playing Michinaga of all people because I could sense that edge off of him. It's like I want to fight all the Kamen Riders and be the best, and make sure that they can't hurt other people. I could see Johnny doing that.
That'd be if Johnny back in the day, if they were to actually bring Ryuki and give it a dub.
Yeah.
Like he would. I wouldn't say Johnny would be Ryuki. He would mostly be like. I say he would mostly be Midnight.
Yeah, like he would most likely be either like Knight or Oja. But I'm gonna be honest, Knight can only be played by Matt Mullins, but that's just me. But if Johnny did do the voice of Michinaga, then it would be appropriate when he gets his Jamar God mode, because those horns could be like an homage to like his Arankar form, like when he fights Ulquiorra.
Yeah.
They even curve the same way. It's perfect.
Why would I believe that if they brought Gaim over, Johnny could be the Baron?
He would definitely be Baron.
I wouldn't see him as Gaim. That would be someone else. But
Oran Pierre Alfonso would have to be played by Stephen Blum, because he's played a similar character in Gurren Lagann. So.
I've just barely started Gaim, so names are not there yet. But I'm like, when I saw him, Durin's, I was like, why am I hearing what's his face from Gurren Lagann here? Why am I hearing like a very feminine Steve Bloom here, which would be perfect if that was a thing.
See, because
representation right there, people.
Because I saw Gaim first. Yeah, I was like, why does this guy remind me of Oran?
Yeah. No, definitely. It's that was one thing that people were like, you're gonna be surprised at the casting of this show, and I was like, okay. And then we see them. Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, bring this to America. It's a hot topic right now, so please, but no one can get mad at that.
So before we get into Blazar, what was your first exposure to Ultraman, and how much overall experience do you have with the series as a whole?
Wow, that was taking me back. My mother and father, actually, when I was a little kid, Sundays on cable TV, they would show giant monster movies or shows. And since my parents were around that time that Ultraman was being broadcasted to the world, like in the 70s and whatnot, they were that right age. So they started showing it again in reruns in America. And so I forget the channel. I think it was a specifically like Asian American channel. But I remember watching the original Ultraman, a few episodes, and then Ultra 7, and it just kind of continued onward. There was a few like TV movies they did. Mm-hmm. There was a video game which I had for the Super Nintendo that my father got me, and it just went on from there. I mean, then we'll move forward to like the late 90s, the 2000s. There was nothing. A couple of references here and there. And of course, obviously the Power Rangers and all that stuff made it bigger. So again, me being exposed to Ultraman, I saw Cyber Squad, and I said, "Oh, it's like Ultraman, but in the computer." Mm-hmm. So, yeah, no, my exposure was very, very, very longward. It wasn't until like I was like 18 or so that I got my hands on like a bootleg copy of the original Ultra series and the original Ultraman, and so I watched all that, with my parents, and enjoyed it. And just last year, my brother gifted me the steel books that Shout Factory had released from Ultra Q to Ultra 7. Mm-hmm. So I have those, and also, at Japan World Heroes, I met one of the original cast for Ultraman, Miss Sakura,
Yeah.
who she was the first lady of tokusatsu of TV, because she was both in Ultra Q and then went into Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a part of my life since I was like 5. I feel it.
Yeah. For me, I mean, if we're going to be really technical, my very first exposure was, in fact, Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I would have no way of knowing it was based on a Japanese TV show, just like how most people probably would not know that Power Rangers was based on a Japanese TV show, unless they saw that Lost episode with Walter Jones. But like I always saw like the VHS being sold at 99-cent store, like the Christmas episode. But they, like, for a brief moment, like I saw it like re-syndicated on UPN, because they always had those Deke shows like Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys, Roswell Conspiracies, Mummies Alive. Like, those were like classics.
Classics.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I liked it because it was kind of like Power Rangers, but except, it's like only one person got to have like an actual Megazord. The others got Zords. And they would just turn into armor, which honestly, like, if you're more familiar with Mighty Morphin Season 2, it's like, yeah, I can vibe with that. Of course,
yes, very much.
I started watching Power Rangers at Season 3, so like I had to go back from reruns in order to see the Thunder Megazord. But yeah, no, it's cool, and I love that Tim Curry played Kilo Khan, because his voice just like every time when a celebrity dies. Rest in peace. Insert
they
celebrity
always,
in here.
Yeah.
They always post like I remember Tim Curry before I was a fan of Tim Curry before he died, and like by the way, he's still alive. Just so
he's still alive, ladies and gentlemen. He's still alive.
Keep posting that.
Yeah. I'm like he's all right. He's okay. He's still with us. But
every time when someone does post that, I'm like, yeah. But are you a fan of Kilo Khan though?
Do you know if you're a fan, then that it's like Kevin Conroy, may he rest in peace, obviously. But it's like everyone knew him as the Batman. I'm like, yeah, no, well, he had a very long, but I'm like, I don't know, I feel bad, I don't know, but I'm like, it's mostly Batman. But Tim Curry, I'm just gonna say, I know everyone says Frankenfurter, and I love Frankenfurter myself, the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but yeah, no, definitely Kilo Khan, and he was very close of being the Joker in the animated series for Batman. Yeah. Supposed rumor is that he was doing this show at the time, and that is why he couldn't be the Joker. Is because the scheduling couldn't happen. He was already like a couple episodes into this, so he was already in. So if it is true, basically Kilo Khan is what the Joker should have been in terms of performance.
Yeah, and but as far as like actual Ultraman goes, like direct Ultraman, like having Ultra in the name, my first exposure was, to everyone else's dread, the Fox box.
Oh, come on.
Power Rangers Wild Force was
bad.
No, look, no. What was bad wasn't the inclusion of English dubs of Ultraman, which we're gonna unwrap that box when we get to the actual episode of Blazar. What the real issue is the fact that Power Rangers Wild Force was no longer on Fox Kids. Well, Fox Kids just did not exist anymore.
It didn't exist anymore. Yeah.
And the thing is, it was like mid-season. It's like, sure, it was on ABC Family before it was called Jetix. Like, it wasn't called Jetix until like either like midway through to Ninja Storm.
2003, 2004.
But back then it was called Fox Family, then it was called ABC Family, and then it was called Jetix, and then in order to, if you wanted to finish watching Wild Force, you have to either watch it on ABC Family or on ABC Kids on the Channel 7. In LA it's Channel 7.
Yeah.
But like that wouldn't be for a while. Actually, Actually, no. Wild Force wasn't on ABC Family. ABC, no. Sorry. It was on ABC. It wasn't on ABC Kids. ABC Kids started airing Power Rangers with Ninja Storm. So if you didn't have like cable at the time, you're out of luck if you want to finish watching Wild Force.
Yeah.
But then they replaced Power Rangers with some giant dude that kind of looked like Jindrax from Wild Force. So I'm like, okay. But then I was like confused. It's like, why are all these characters Japanese, but they're speaking in English, but their voices don't match their It's like, yeah, I've seen Bruce Lee movies, but it didn't like hit me right away that, oh wait, those movies are dubbed into English.
It felt more like watching like Godzilla on TV, but only for 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's like you're used to watching Japanese cartoons, but now watching Japanese live action shows.
I was used to it.
And in Power Rangers, it's like you have some Japanese characters, but then you have Black, Latino, European characters. Heck, we even had one Jewish character in Zeo who only was there for like 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it got such a. Honestly, I don't. Looking back on those series, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? If they're not anything, why? Why are you here? It's a waste of a budget, I say. Yeah. Not to be disrespectful to anyone of a different creed or anything, but you get what I'm saying. It's like they're not a hero.
It's like when you're in America, it's like it just feels weird seeing like a show where like everyone is the same ethnicity. Doesn't matter if it's like, oh, you're all Japanese or like all French or all Italian or all South American. It's like it's just like to the fact that everyone, like even if like you watch like a show like say Everybody Hates Chris or Moesha, it's like, yeah, you have a predominantly black cast, but there's still white characters like in the background. Here, like everyone is Japanese.
Everyone is Japanese. Everyone. So like, it's crazy, but I do remember when that was Ultraman Gaia. Tiga, that's a Tiga. Yeah. And another shout out to someone I know, my good friend Frank. He's an elderly man who comes into my job. I found out that he was the voice of the captain in that show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I found out because he was like, "Oh, I do voice acting and stuff like that." And I was just like, "Huh?" And I looked him up, and I was like, "Oh, you were the captain." I was like, "Oh, I'm a big fan of Ultraman." So shout outs to Frank. I can't recall your last name now. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I met one of the English voice actors for Ultraman X because I definitely have an Ultraman X poster autographed. But like, part of me was like, felt like really weird about it because it's like I never watched Ultraman X, so like I can't really like geek out. I'm sure you would want me to.
It's the same thing that would happen to me in Japan World Heroes. I geeked out with Furuhara-san, which was Go On Red from Go Onger, but I got to meet both the actors who was Ultraman Gaia and Gaim, Kamen Rider Gaim, and such sweet guys. It's such rad guys, and I have never seen your show. No, but you guys are so awesome. I felt
what was the most difficult for me is not only was Ultraman the only one of the 3 shows I've never watched, but also the actor who played Ultraman Gaia was the first of the 3 actors to like introduce himself to me, and I'm like, if it was okay, if it was one of the other 2 actors approaching me first, and then he approached me, like I would feel more comfortable with all 3 of them. But the fact that out of all 3 of them, it's the one person whose show I did not watch.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling.
It's like I
want to say it's a pleasure and an honor to meet you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, good sir. But again, I was hanging out in the lobby at the hotel, and all 3 of them just came up to us as they sat down. We started talking, and I was like, me and Go On Red became pretty chill with each other, but the other 2, I was like, I became cool with them, but I was like, again, I'm being cool with you guys because you are people. That is the one thing we must remember. The actors are people.
Yeah, they are people. Yeah,
they are people. So must be respectful. Must be respectful. Must
it's like first and foremost, the biggest obstacle is literally the language barrier, because it's because like not only do they speak a different language, but also there's like cultural differences, like the way you say hello to someone is
that
not
you don't know versus
it's like like even like the physical gestures, even when you bow to someone, like there's like very specific ways and instances where you have to do it. It's like, and like the actors are very nice and humble about it, but it's like but like as a person who like hasn't thoroughly researched Japanese etiquette, it's a little bit more tedious.
It is.
Then the secondary barrier is the fact that the projects they work on are projects you're not familiar with, so you can't even like default on geeking out. It's like, oh, I don't understand your culture, but I'm a big fan. Like, no, you can't even do that.
No, you can't. I mean, it's nice when you talk to them, but it's I don't know. I spoke to them like they were just regular people, and we all became pretty good friends.
Yeah,
like,
no, I appreciate that. Like, that Go on Red's actor wanted to collaborate with Morphin Network, which will happen eventually. We're gonna talk it out. But it did feel like an honor that he gave me his business card and everything. Like,
yeah, I want to be there when that happens. So hopefully we'll all be there.
Yeah, but
right.
But beyond that, it's like I've only seen like 3 episodes of Tiga and 3 episodes of Ginga. Yeah, Ginga, and that's pretty much it.
I did see all of Ginga, but apparently I thought that was the series, but apparently it was like what we would be like an OVA for anime. It was like the beginning, and then there's the actual series. I was like, well, no, I haven't seen the actual series then yet, I guess. But I've seen bits and pieces of Ultraman, throughout the years. There's a lot. There really are a lot. I did see the Shin Ultraman movie, which that was really good, both Japanese and in dub. I'd say both of them were amazingly produced and performance-wise. It's Ultraman.
I would say the sigh of relief when it comes to jumping into it is like most of the Neo Heisei seasons of Ultraman, and yes, I'm using Neo Heisei like in Kamen Rider terms, like 2010 onwards. It's like the seasons are only like half a year as opposed to a full year like they used to be. So it's like if you're gonna commit yourself to catching up on Ultraman as you would with Kamen Rider and watch 1 episode a week, it's like you could knock out 2 seasons in a year as opposed to only 1 season in a year. So that's good. It's going to be a little harder when you go back to the older seasons like the original, Tiga, Dyna, but like the newer seasons like Ginga or Geed, what's
Victory? I think
like
one Victory.
X, Z, Red and Blue, like those are like around like 25, 26 episodes per season, so it's a little bit easier. But they also have a plethora of movies like Kamen Rider Super Sentai do, so
they have way more than a Kamen Rider Sentai series. I was like, what? But it's it is that, and you're right, you can. But of course, with the early 2000s, remember Kamen Rider was just being revived back then.
Yeah.
So the it's like the money goes into Ultraman and Sentai, but as you can tell now, it's going only into Ultraman or to Kamen Rider and Super Sentai now.
Yeah, Kamen Rider just started hitting its stride in Ryuki very noticeably. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Agito way more than Ryuki. Don't get it twisted, but like as far as like the Heisei formula goes, it's like you notice it more at the start of Ryuki as opposed to Agito and Kuga altogether. Like even like Toshiki Inui and Joe, I forgot the name of the actor. Anyways, but Inui said it's like I want to create a Kamen Rider series that will destroy the Kamen Rider franchise, and then Joe said, "Let's do it," and that's how he became Kuga.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting on that 50th episode, though.
Well, I mean, all 3 are still going strong in their own ways. I mean, when I was in Japan, I would see Ultraman stuff more than I saw Kamen Rider and Sentai stuff. So that just shows you. I mean, obviously, Ultraman is an institution. It's one of those old franchises still going on to this day, and a lot of people, it's like they're Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Is Ultraman is their Superman.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's like, you know, you see him more often. I remember going to Tokyo Dome.
Yeah.
And that whole place was dedicated to him. I was like, wow, my mom.
It's funny that you mentioned Superman because like he does fly off towards the end of the
He
episode.
does fly off, yeah, and the colors are red and blue with this one. I know it's been that way for all Ultramen, but this one specifically, I like his design. I like how he looks, especially with the
with that little flare on the side. It's good. Low key reminds me of Ankh from Oz.
Yes, I was like, it's a very O's look for an Ultraman. It's the dial is very big on his chest, though. I was like, wow.
Like I'm gonna be honest though. I also thought like this looks like they like dismantled Taja Spinner from Tajadol, and they took the LED lights from the driver from Kamen Rider Drive. I've not seen Drive, but I was like, that looks familiar. Why does that look familiar? And I was like, yeah, that does. I was like, it's a very interesting way to transform, because normally they have like a little
hand.
trinket, like in Sailor Moon, where it's like
there's like the sticks or the rods or something, or even like they use like Ultra 7 had glasses that he would put on. This one is like, I mean, I don't know. Again, my info on Ultraman Henshin devices is limited, but I know that for a wrist mounted, I think that the only one that had a wrist mounted that I can remember was possibly, this is just me, was Gridman. Even though Gridman technically is not an Ultraman.
Yeah, like honestly, like they didn't even have that in the American version of Gridman, because like for Sam Collins to transform into Servo, he just plugs his guitar to a computer, and he's like, bounce.
Yeah, it was the 90s, so.
And then it's like Mad Matrix from Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that was the 90s, so I'm like, but it's crazy though. I actually was looking at old Gridman toys or Samurai toys, and they did have the damn bracelet. They did sell it. I'm like, well, what the? It's not on the show. I actually have watched the show. It's on YouTube, and I'm like, I never see him wear that bracelet once. So I'm like, what?
For me, one of the craziest transform devices from Ultraman. Keep in mind, like I haven't watched most of the seasons, but I do recognize them because I always see
we know people that have them.
Yeah, like we see Toku-Collectibles advertisements, we see CS Toys advertisements, like you
go to the model shop at Jungle in LA,
that too,
and you see them displayed there, and you're just oh, okay.
So for me, the craziest one is Ultraman Orb, which is like, because his transform device is like this giant ring thing that looks like the Twinkle Bell from Sailor Moon Supers, and like he like puts cards through it. Like he doesn't even like slot them into like a card slot or he just puts it through this giant gap there, and somehow like it just scans the card or whatever.
It's literally like your hand is right here holding it.
Yeah.
Handle, and there's like right there, and then there's just a giant circle
ring,
and then
like the size of your head,
and then you just go through, and then someone said to me once, it reminds me of using your train pass when you're going on the J line in Japan, but it's unnecessary. Like, what is this round? It just lights up. It just does that.
The crazy part is it's called Ultraman Orb, and there's like no actual.
There's no orb.
There's a ring. There's a ring. Yeah. Maybe they called it Ultraman Ring. Like,
I mean, the Q Damas would have made more sense. The Henshin device from Q Ranger would have made more sense with that Ultraman. But I guess
exactly.
I guess Sentai beat him to the punch. I mean, I was like, isn't it kind of crazy that Q Ranger's going? Well, again, I've not seen Q Ranger, but I was like, someone told me like that Q Ranger was going around the same time as Orbs, but the show that is like should be using orbs or like something like that is not.
Is Ultraman Orb.
It's Ultraman orbs with the key. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. I know.
What's weird is that like after that, I think it was Ultraman Geed, and not to be confused with Kamen Rider Geets, but Ultraman Geed like had like these little capsules that kind of look like Judenchi from Juden Sentai Kyorager. So it's like, so we're back to using like beast batteries, but like with Ultraman. Okay.
Yeah, the kaiju capsules or what they were. Yeah, those kind of reminded me of Build almost, because they were like that same type of gimmick toy, but it's just like you pop them in the ground, and then it's like where Build was like shake them up, and then there you go. I was like, man, you guys aren't even trying at this point.
What I found really interesting is how in Ultraman Ginga they actually incorporate the vinyl toys as part of the transformation.
Well, there you go. That you killed two birds with one stone. As a friend of mine said when I showed it to him, it's like, so those vinyl toys that only cost $10, now you have to buy them to activate the toy turn, just like the Mobirit and the Gokai keys were back then. Yeah, but you're not making a new toy. You're still selling the same toy.
Yeah.
But now you got a scanner code on the bottom of the foot that you could just like, and there you go. It's like you could. I was like, yeah, no, I think they have a surplus of vinyl toys in the warehouse that they had to get rid of. I think.
Yeah. Well, at least now we found a new use for Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah.
Because he has like Andy. It's like Andy.
Yeah. No, definitely. But all right, let's get down to this guy, Blazar. Okay, Johnny Bosch is in the dub.
Okay, so like the whole episode is just like takes place at night, so it's like you could barely see half the things that are happening. But you got this team of agents. There's agents like every season. Sometimes you bring old agencies back, but like this looks like a new one. They don't really explain that like what their name is in the first episode. All you know is that they've done missions in the past, and the leader of the squad, voiced by Johnny Bosch, Captain Gento, is like he's done some kind of successful mission that like is alluded to but never blatantly explained. But
maybe that'll be later on because it just kind of feels again. Once you pass the 10-minute mark, it goes really fast. Like, wait, what? What?
Yeah, because like
how?
Yeah, because they're trying to fight this giant crustacean kaiju, which, by the way, has a very interesting design. Like its head almost looks like an Eva from Evangelion.
Looks like an Eva, but it's pretty much just a giant. It's a giant prawn. It's a tiger prawn. From what my research said, that's what they based it off of. I thought, it kind of looks like a lobster, but no, it's a prawn, especially with the sounds that it makes. I'm like, I did not know that prawns actually made noise. I did not know that, but
and of course,
very cool looking.
And of course, like the city is being destroyed, and they have this idea of a two-pronged attack, where like they use two bazookas at two different points in order to penetrate its armor and subdue it. But while some members of the agency try to escape, an attack jet does get destroyed because it shoots out like photon lasers or whatever the attack is. They're energy blasts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're kind of stranded.
Yeah, no, it was pretty much like, get out of there. Like now, I'm like, they just dropped in, dumbasses. How are you going to? Well, they got rocket jetpacks or something.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, you can't. But then like Gendo tells them, hey, I know you guys are empty the clips out. I got a plan. And I'm like, he's doing the whole Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes type of thing where he's just like,
he's planning it ahead of time.
It was very.
And then he
Sherlock
does another Robert Downey Jr. reference by doing the whole like Mark II thing. Like it's like, okay, 10%.
Yeah. But apparently his like planning was wrong because it's just like, as we will get to, a person tells them you aimed wrong. You were supposed to aim for the nose, not the chest.
That makes more sense.
And it's just like, it makes more sense because I'm like, you don't go for the body. The body is more heavily armored. then
like even Michael Keaton from Spider-Man knew better.
Yeah, no, definitely. But no, that whole thing happens. He's trying to rescue the fallen team members that are in danger, and then out of nowhere, this whole this flash of light, and then it's the device is on his wrist, and it's like, and I was thinking, like, is that a gear from Zenkaiger?
Yeah, like okay, so this is the part that really confused me about this episode, because from the 3 different seasons I've seen the first episode of, that being the original 66 Ultraman Tiga, and Ultraman Ginga, like usually the hero obtains the device from an external source because it's warranted. It's like what, but like it's like there's like they at least like say like, oh, you are the chosen one to obtain this transformation device, and you'll harness the power of Ultra. But like here it's like
this one, it just kind of appears, which I'm kind of thinking that because he's doing the whole like premonition and planning, I kind of feel like that already happened. And so because again, we don't know anything about the team he was at. Like we just know like everyone's like, oh my God, you're Captain Gendo, you're the great captain. It's like, what? Why is he great? What happened? We'll get that. We'll get that. So it's like that. Like, usually that happens in the first episode. Like there's an Ultraman fight, pre-human Ultraman crossover. And it's like, because of certain actions, it's like, you are chosen because I cannot survive on this planet, or I accidentally killed you. I have to sustain your life as being, you're so you, but I'm the one who.
Or you have to sustain my life.
Yeah.
It's so it's always one or the other.
That's one or the other. It's like, giant kaiju fight. Oops, I accidentally crushed you. Let me give you some of my life, but if I leave, then you die. Maybe, but you won't.
It's kind of like Ankh from Oz, or
very much so. Very much so. If Ankh leaves the body,
he only has 14 minutes to live.
Yeah, it's like, but then it's like, wait, no, he's healing. He's like, well, yeah, it's almost been 50 episodes. How's he? How much time has gone by that he hasn't healed yet?
A year. We
Every year.
can assume that every season of every Toku show lasts a year.
Yeah,
I don't know if the same applies to Ultraman, because they're like 20.
It just goes. Episodes. It goes a lot faster.
Yeah.
But so we get that, and the battle happens, and it's standard kaiju fight. Hero appears. But I like it how he's like kind of confused. It's like most Ultramen are just like, they get their stance. They're ready to fight. This guy's like, wait, what? Wait, and then he jumps off. He jumps on top of a building like a kid trying to hide. And he's just like, wait. Oh, that's right. I'm the hero. And then he starts fighting this giant prawn thing, and getting his butt kicked. But then he gets him in like kind of like a twisting the arms type thing, and then he just rips off.
Yeah. And also he needs a distraction from a mysterious ally.
Yeah. If it wasn't for her, if it wasn't for this mysterious girl shooting him up the nose, then he will. Yeah. But with that, he was able to rip the arms off and do the whole, I guess not the Ultra Beam, but more like his own version of it, which all Ultramen have. But this is like a lance. It's like it's a big old lightning bolt.
Yeah, shout outs to Michael Bacon for like giving us that double lance thing from VR Troopers, or Spielban to be more accurate. But no, it's like I like that. Like for once, it's not a beam. Like he's got like what is basically a spear, and I'm gonna be honest, it's like this looks a little less stupid compared to the season 7 finale of The Flash.
I've not seen The Flash.
Okay, so you okay if I like spoil the season 7?
You go ahead.
Basically, Flash and Reverse Flash have a lightsaber battle using lightning constructs. It's like like season 1, like it's like they established that like if he like generates like enough like friction, like he could shoot out lightning bolts like while he's running or like vibrating his body. But then like season 7, they go like full weird because one person has like a lightning whip. What's it called? Bard has like lightning shuriken, and I'm like, okay, I can understand the lightning shuriken better than the lightning lightsaber. Because it's still a discharge, but like here it's like no, it's like you're going like full Kazuma Kuwabara. It's like, here's my spirit sword. I'm not gonna let you fight and destroy my planet. Yeah!
I mean, I always say with sci-fi, no matter from what country, it's like, you know what, reality's thrown out the door, man. Just accept it. Just accept it. I mean, if right now this Ultraman spear, this flash lightsaber is more deadlier than what Disney's done with lightsabers nowadays.
Yeah, they effectively like nerfed lightsabers.
Yeah, it's pretty much a flashy just beat 'em up stick now. It's not a deadly weapon.
It's
anymore.
like originally like lightsabers were supposed to be like the ultimate tool where it's like it could cut through anything, like even like deflect lasers because it's made of it's a plasma construct.
Yeah,
like
but now
it's like
now
okay,
it's
so
like
I
not even
understand
that.
having like a plasma baton go up against a lightsaber in episode 7 because it's like I get it. In order to fight, you got to fight plasma with plasma. You can't use the force to generate the plasma construct. You use technology to make an artificial plasma construct. I get that. I get the plasma.
But when you start nerfing the actual real thing.
Yeah,
for
and then episode 8, it's like you got plasma daggers, plasma mace, plasma whip. I'm like, okay, too many plasma weapons.
Too much.
Yep.
But I mean, at least for right now, our this Ultraman only has a spear right now, which very effective tool, I would say. Instead of like just a beam itself, because I just feel like the beams. Kind of like just with anything, it's like that will eventually happen. They do all eventually get like a beam attack, but I feel like this is more of like an actual weapon that he will use readily and available. So, but yeah, spearing the thing, and it's just like, oh, cool. Then the battle ends, and we get the whole thing of formulating a team, and he disappears. I love when he disappears. He leaves the stream of red and blue.
Yeah,
from his
on
arm.
The left side. Yeah, from the one arm. Yeah. Also, like, what do you think about the costume design for this one? Because like most Ultraman, like they look like they look more symmetrical, for the lack of better words.
Yeah, they're very uniformal. It's very uniform. Like an Ultraman, is an Ultraman. Yeah. This one I like the half motif because it feels like. Well, that's his base form. Like, there's got to be more to him. It's gonna add on to his look later on. Yeah,
because like we do know that all the Ultraman series up to starting at a certain point use gimmick toys like you got the orb ring with the cards. You got the Geed capsule things. You got. I know there's one that uses coins. This one they use. They use blazer stones.
It's blazer stones, but they look like the gears from Zenkaiger. Yeah. Even though, again, not seeing Zenkaiger, but I'm like, that looks very familiar. I've seen those. I've seen that before.
But again, like we've seen a coin one before.
Yeah,
I can't remember what season, but like, look, I know there's like one where it's like it kind of looks like a rounded blade, and like it like flips over to the other side. And there's like you can put like 3 coins on one side. Again,
no, that one I don't know, but that sounds very like O's.
Yeah.
Kind of formulaic, but
yeah.
But yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, but what I do find interesting is that like it's like you'd think like he would just demorph back into his human form or just disappear or just leave altogether. But here, like you clearly see him leave, but then you just find
him unconscious on the floor.
Yeah, without complete understanding of what just happened. So I'm like, are they like 2 separate physical bodies in this one, and they just happen to absorb each other just for this one fight, and then they separated again at the end of the episode? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's a question to ask, and we, as always, we must sit and watch and see what happens.
And we will archive and we will quest.
Yeah. But after the battle, it's like, they finally give the character a code name because they're just like, oh, it's Ultraman. It's like, what? You can't just say it's Ultraman. Which Ultraman is it?
Yeah, it's like, like astronauts always had. Oh, sorry, my humidifier fell down. Okay, but yeah, so astronauts always had this belief of these mythical beings in space called the
mythical
Ultraman.
being that you guys have, that you guys know that have existed.
Space mermaid. Ultraman are basically space mermaids.
I'm like, I'm pretty. I mean, well, again, not every show in a series must be canonical. Must not be. They're only canonical when they have to be. They're connected in some way. But it's like by this time, I'm like, is an Ultraman really that strange to see in Japan? Honestly, I mean, I'm surprised the retail market isn't like BS over in Japan with how many kaiju fights go on. Like legitimately.
Yeah, I love that Team 4-Star joke where, like, when they summon Shenron and like everyone's panicking, and then that police officer on the megaphone goes, Gojira, 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 Gojira. Gojira. Like everyone's like panicking. But once he explains, Gojira. Okay, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Plus, you gotta love that whole like Inspector Gadget scene where it's like he's making that shadow puppet, and then the one guy's like, "I left Tokyo for this."
Again, that's America references Ultraman and Godzilla so much. Jurassic Park also had that riff in the Lost World. The people don't know that one.
Yeah,
where like the T-Rex is charging in downtown San Diego, and there's people are running, they're running away, and there's a group of Japanese businessmen running away as well. And a friend of mine, I asked him, God bless you, Yasuhiro, because this was before the internet was what it was. I was like, Yas, what are they saying? And he was laughing his ass off, and I was like, what did they say? And he's like, the elderly man in the front is the one who's talking, and he's saying, this is why we left Japan. And I was like, yeah, but at least the dinosaur's not that big. I mean,
yeah. I love how in Austin Powers 3 there was that scene with Masaoka from Heroes.
Yeah,
where like that one guy's like, "Run, it's Gojira!" And he's like, "That may look like Gojira, but the national copyright, it is not. Still not like it is Gojira, though it is not."
Yeah,
and then you see Charmander running.
Yeah, no, it's a riff on Ultraman and Godzilla, and it's the same thing even with this show. It's like you're breaking the fourth wall. It's like supposedly this is not something that you guys know about. It's like, no, come on, man. We know, obviously, and obviously,
and that's kind of another thing that I always wonder about like Ultraman series, because like almost every season that I randomly come across on Tokusatsu, shout out to Tokusatsu, like it almost seems like Ultraman from past seasons keeps randomly showing up in every season. So that's part of like the hesitation to jump into any season, because it's like, what if something that happened in a previous season might be important? And of course, because like you don't know if it's like isolated like Sentai or if it's like interconnected like Power Rangers, because like if your first season of Power Rangers was like let's say Dino Charge or Ninja Steel, it's like
you have no idea.
Like you have no idea who Wes or Gemma are. Maybe you might know who Coda is, but who are these two other guys? Heck, who's this blonde chick in the white? Who's that Latino dude with the long hair?
Who's Tommy? Like, who's that? Like,
if you watched Super Mega Force, maybe might know who Tommy is.
Okay, yeah, no, but it's like you just know the name, you don't know the character. It's the same. I mean, it's the same thing with Sentai. Is that with the Ultramans, they're just like, you're bringing back the old actors, and bless their hearts, bless them for coming back. But
But they
what?
rarely come back as the original characters, though.
Yeah, it's like the Ultramen themselves come back. I remember they did the movie with Zero, the big one where they had like all the kaijus show up and fight, and it's like, well, you had the original old men, but they were most of the time they were as the original Ultraman and Ultra 7 throughout the whole time.
Yeah, not
Which I'm
gonna
like,
lie
that's great.
though, one of the most fun things about watching 199 Heroes was the fact that you got like 5 Brajiras, you got several of the Titans from Maji Ranger and so on. So then you get all 33 giant robots plus 2 jets teaming up, and of course you gotta love the whole like Car Ranger versus Go Ranger finisher thing.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing with these anniversary films, especially with Ultraman. It's like obviously the original Ultraman, maybe the Ultra 7 brothers will come in, but by itself, an Ultraman series can be watched by itself. I mean, it doesn't have to be connected.
Even in Ultraman Ginga, like the very first episode, Ultraman Taro is one of the main characters. Yeah, he's trapped in the form of a vinyl figure, buy yours today. But like the point is, it's like you have to ask yourself, do I need to know who Ultraman Taro is?
Do I need to know anything about them? And that was the thing also I was wondering with this show, because normally, I mean, I was looking at a bunch of YouTuber documentaries, and it's like the pattern that I've noticed is that a lot of these Ultraman series start off with a monster that has already been established.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I get it, but is it not that we should not be going with the nostalgia with Ultraman or Ultraman in general? It should be like, I mean, that's the thing. I watched up to episode 3 of Blazar, and I've noticed there's a lot of a lot of like crustacean aquatic type kaijus that have been within the first couple of episodes, which is great. I'm like, that's an actually interesting design. I was like, don't show me Gamora, don't show me Bathlar, don't show me the alien Boltons. Give me a new kaiju. I want to see something new, which thankfully they're doing that.
Yeah, and that's something I really wonder, like when I contemplating trying to get into Ultraman, because like let's say we're not starting off with one of those newer seasons that only have 26 episodes. What if we start off with one of those seasons that have like 50 episodes? It's like you're expecting to have not a kaijin of the day, but a kaiju of the day. Like how many kaiju can you make in a year before you start running out of design ideas? Because the thing is with kaiju, it's a lot harder to like come up with new designs. Kaijin are a little bit easier because it's like as long as you stick to some kind of motif, like say, oh, you got machines, or oh, you got or you got 4 factions where like you got insects in leather, you got aquatic animals as samurai, you got ancient civilizations, or heck even Kamen Rider X like had kaijin based off of historical villains combined with an animal like Ant Capone or Beetle Lupin or Toad Goemon. Yeah, I did not want to bring that one up.
Well,
I actually like when I was watching Kamen Rider X, I actually made a meme where it's like, thank you, Government of Darkness, for making cool monster designs, not you.
Not you, Starfish Hitler. No, not you.
Yeah.
But no, that's the thing with. I mean, that's again with Ultraman. You have kaijin and you also have kaiju, so it depends on just the accessibility of the monsters. In all honesty, this show was like kind of interesting, especially watching the second episode.
Yeah.
Of like introducing the team that is now being formed. I think what was it called? Scabbard or Scarts, something like that.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like the space patrol from the original series. Yeah, from this one. But I'm like not what you would think a team of the best would be. Especially since a lot of them are like very, very young. I'm like, in normal military, Yeah, this would not. No. Who am I? I don't know. I'm the Japanese military. I know nothing about the Japanese military. But I'm like, a very cute, idol-looking girl as like the captain of special ops. Okay. Is this an Ultraman series? Yeah. Okay. I thought it was a Sentai series for a minute.
Yeah, no. Honestly, that last thing you said made me wish there was a second season for Darwin's game, but
No.
no.
I will honestly say that this Ultraman is interesting. Honestly, I want to know because there's no reason for the monsters. Some of them are just Earth monsters that exist.
Yeah.
But usually there's like a main bad. I'm like, well, what's the story with this guy? Because this Ultraman doesn't look like any other Ultraman that have come before him. So what's his story? That's what I want to know.
Right. So finally, what are your final likes, dislikes, and score out of 10 for this episode?
For the first episode, it just again the 10 minutes kind of felt like very it was almost like a half and half. Like we go from a very serious to like kind of like what is acceptable of an Ultraman series. The pacing was very fast. Depending on I don't know how long this is gonna go for, but all in all, for an introductory episode, I give it a 7. I mean, there could have been more fleshed out. There could have been more with like dropping a bit more about the captain, about who he is. But of course, we must wait to see that happen. I don't expect for you to tell me his whole life story in episode 1, but just like what you could have mentioned why he was so well respected and loved by his troops instead of just like giving him this special team and then leaving his troops behind. I'm like, he can't take them with him. Really?
Right. Like even with Ace Yukio, like it's like we don't need to know his entire backstory in the first episode of Kamen Rider Geats, but like he does like he does engage us enough to make us want to learn more about him. That he's the best of the best of the best. Like he's so good, he gives the other two players a head start. Oh wait, the universe is being reset. What's going on? What's with the Caesar coin and so on and so forth. But it's like, look, Johnny doesn't need to be like a shot for shot copy of Ace Yukio, but just give us a little bit more than what we actually got. So like, I have to agree with you. I have to give this a 7 just because it's like I have seen pilot episodes of Ultraman that have done it better. Have I ever finished a season of Ultraman? No, I have not. But I've seen pilot episodes that have handled introducing the main character a little bit better. And again, like if this is a 2-parter, like I can forgive it. But again, I've only seen just the 1 episode, so like, here's hoping it sets up for part 2.
It kind of does, but at the same time, not still. Like there's like wait. Why can't you bring them with you? Why is it only down to like 4 or 5 people? But it's like, what, you should bring your team with you because they'll follow you, they'll be there for you. It's like no, like, they'll be there, but I'm like budgetary reasons.
And why does Gento like become Blazar out of all the people, and why at that moment? Because what's it called? Because like because to our knowledge, he has no prior interactions with he has no knowledge of it. If it's sort of like a thing where it's like, oh, he proved his worth by being selfless or self-sacrificing, it's like, okay, but there were scenes earlier where he could have done that, and like you would have like given him the Blazar changer thing. But like in that specific scene where he finally does get it, it's like he doesn't really do anything. So it's like I feel like timing.
I mean, he's trying to save somebody, but he was trying to save his team as well. So, but you have to save your team and this other team for me to like give you the magic MacGuffin to do. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, no inner voice, no dialogue between a human and Ultra, like nothing. This just randomly happens.
It just randomly happens, and now it's like, just a little thing for the second episode. Yeah. It's kind of like, giant kaiju shows up, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to save somebody, but then it's like the the MacGuffin that's in his pocket just starts burning a hole in his pants. It's like, what? So it's like, you want me to I mean, isn't that, shouldn't he already know? Like, what's going on? Is there a lack of communication with you guys?
Yeah.
But again, we must wait and see.
Yeah, and I have to say, like, while this does not factor into my score, one thing that was really distracting was because, like, we watched this on the official YouTube channel. There's like all these advertisements in the middle of the thing. I'm like, oh, geez, this feels like watching Gundam Build Fighter all over again. But
I actually enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed seeing those, and I was like, oh, I wish I could go to that. I would love to go to that.
Yeah. But the thing is, there was like so many commercials. It's like.
Yeah, the Japanese commercials were in the video. Let's just, to anyone who wants to go watch it on the official YouTube channel, the commercials are officially on the video, because the video I think is like 30 some odd minutes long.
Yeah,
but
the actual footage is only like 22 to 24.
Yeah, but also there's YouTube ads that play once you get out of the commercials.
Yeah, and then that's the part. That's the thing about it too.
Like,
it's like,
wow, really?
It's like, again, Build Fighter. Look, Gundam Build Fighter does that too. But to Build Fighter's credits, they just do the one 15-second commercial and then go back to the show. But here it's like you got like a solid 45 seconds of commercials
from
and
Japan.
Then you got the YouTube commercials on top.
And the YouTube commercials is like, they talking about something, then the YouTube commercial comes on. I'm just like, okay. But I'm like, I'm not putting that on the YouTube channel or the video itself. I mean, they got to do what they got to do. Do what you got to do.
Like I'm trying really hard to like score it based only on the actual contents of the episode.
Yeah, But no, it was a good opening. I paused on episode 3. And I'll probably continue watching it just to see what happens.
Yeah, and let's hope that moving forward, like this will encourage Toei to do English dubs of Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, because like then it's like more audience can watch it. Again, look, man, like I know everyone loves like their subs over dubs, but honestly, it's like
that only applies to anime, I believe. I mean, if you're a fan of like tokusatsu, like I said, like you grew up watching Godzilla or anything like that, you saw it subtitled, you saw it dubbed pretty much. Whether
even Tiga was dubbed,
whether it was horrible, but I feel like the whole like sub versus dub only applies to anime. I've never seen anyone complain about like watching a Godzilla movie and they're talking about like, well, yeah, I get it, but I mean, is that not like the charm that these movies have?
Like honestly, the only time I've ever complained about dubs for live action is literally the Russian dubs for Kamen Rider Skits. It's like it's weird because like if you watch Russian dubs of like One Piece or JoJo or like most other anime, it's like the Russian dubs are good, like they're really good. But like if you watch like the Russian dubs for like Kamen Rider Skits, it's like you only have the same voice actor for like all the characters. It's like noticeably where like he raises the pitch of his voice for the female characters, but doesn't even change his voice slightly for like the different male characters. And the whole time, like the voice actor sounds so disinterested. It's like, oh, это Jamoto, нам надо с ним драться, Henshin.
I've seen some of it. I was like, what? That okay?
It's like, and if you compare that, it's like maybe it's like, oh, you're probably thinking, oh, well, it's just, I mean, it's a Russian dub. What do you expect? But the thing is, Russian dubs for like other Japanese properties were so much better. Like freaking, like JoJo. Like it's like, нет, это не может быть Caesar. Actually,
well, again, it's like anime gets the love because anime is anime, but when it comes to anything else, like tokusatsu wise, or even just like live action shows, whether it be from Korea, China, the K dramas and all that stuff, I've seen them dubbed, and it's like, and from noticeably good voice actors, famous voice actors, and they just sound so disinterested because it's not anime. But I'm like,
it's crazy how Ghost Stories has so much passion despite the lack of
Yeah. But at the same time, I say it's like, I mean, and in live action, you have to not only go by the voice flaps, you also have to go by how the person looks and how they're acting. You can't give a very energetic performance when the person's just flat. You can't do that. In anime, you could.
Believe me, I always fantasize like what if there was like a voice shuffle version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge, because like you know how like Martin Billany always does like different versions of episode 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge. It's like I thought of one where it's like, what if you shuffled the characters' voices around? So it's like, come here, guys, I've marked us with a special sign. Not for nothing, Taya, but isn't this a permanent marker? Whoops. How'd you get that in the first place? I am a kleptomaniac. I stole it from school.
Yeah.
Hey, my wallet's missing. Kaiba took it. And then use Taya's voice for Yami.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I mean, we'll see what happens with this Ultra series. Honestly, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna definitely watch.
Yeah, and also, like just in general, like no matter how bad the English dubs are, if I need to, I will watch the dubs if it can be helped. If it cannot be helped, I'm gonna watch the subs. But honestly, like
it's the same story. Honestly,
yeah, it's the same story.
It's just how they're speaking, pretty much. I mean, I saw it,
but also just my neurodivergence makes it harder.
Yeah, I saw it with Japanese subtitles, but with the dub, and I was like, well, no, yeah. Well, when he said "let's go," he said this, but we said "let's go" in English. So it's like, but it's kind of the same. It's the same thing, just different use of words. But
what's weirder is if like they like translate things literally, as in by individual word, which grammatically ends up not working, or figuratively for that matter, like idioms.
Yeah, no, they have to, and that's with any. But that I say, give it a watch. I mean, they do have it Japanese, obviously, on their YouTube channel. But if you want to, I mean, it is stuff. There is an option, as always with everything. There are options for people.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they have like a dub option, because less subtitles for me to have to read. I get enough of that from Kamen Rider and Super Sentai.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So with that said, let's go to our comments. Remember, guys, if you comment to us while we're live, we will display your comments down below. So let us see what you guys have to say. What do you think of the episode? Finally, we have an Ultraman podcast on this channel. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
BX Asia baby. Says, hey, hello.
How you doing?
Triple Oak Swayze says, never seen Ultraman, but I'm glad they're on Tubi though. Yes, you can watch all our seasons.
There are. Yeah, the old ones. Yeah,
they have the original Leo.
7.
I know they have X, Ginga.
Oh, is Ginga on there?
Yeah, that's how I watched the first episode of Ginga. Well, first 3 episodes of Ginga.
I have to watch it. I did not know that.
I think they have Dinah. I could be wrong. Hold on. I could just check it out right now. Hold on. Tubi TV Ultraman. Okay, let's take a look. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look. Ultraman. Okay, so they have the original Ultraman, the animated series. They have Nexus, Return of Ultraman. They have Orb, Gaia. Oh, look at that! They have Gaia. So we could have actually watched it. They finally added Tiga. That's great. I could go back and watch that.
All right. So
they have Amabius, Superior and Ultra Brothers. They have Ultraman the Next, Hikari Saga. Wow, there's a lot of Ultraman movies here. Just giving it to you straight. There's Geed, Cosmos, Ginga. They have Max, X, Cosmos.
So just things that are semi-recent, like within the past couple of years.
Yeah, and
All right, yeah,
Taro,
definitely.
Dinah.
I will
Ace.
definitely watch this. Definitely, I didn't even
And
know.
and they have Ultraman Red and Blue. So yeah, there's a lot of Ultraman. So with that in mind, why do you not have more Kamen Rider?
It's a lot more logistical. America knows who Ultraman is. They don't know who the Kamen Riders are.
Yeah, but we have so many Sentai seasons though on TV.
I know. Well, again, Power Rangers. That's why. Unless you want to bring Black RX into the fray, you know. But then again, who remembers Masked Rider?
Shout has the Blu-ray for Black RX. So
we'll put it on the streaming, people, because we want to see it.
Put it on the streaming, exactly. You put Black RX on, yeah. Like I would love to see like the original Amazon on Tubi. I mean, obviously, I've already watched the original Amazon. My heart still goes out to a Mole Man, but you know.
Yep.
I love the Foxbox Tiga theme. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, but it was kind of like very patriotic, if I remember right.
Ultraman Tiga. Like the best Foxbox song was without question Shaman King. Like
I will say it had to have been Ultimate Muscle.
I would definitely say it's top 3.
Ultimate Muscle definitely was like definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we can all agree that Fighting Foodons was without question the worst one. Like I know people are hating on the One Piece rap, but it's catchy as heck.
Hey man, at least they came up with something new instead of taking like classical Mozart music and just.
Actually, it was French. It was Orpheus and Underworld.
Oh, was that it? Okay. Yeah. That's when 4Kids knew that they were already like screwed, because I kind of feel like they had some banger music back in their day, but
and the crazy part is Fighting Foodons came out before Shaman King did, so I'm like,
they probably were like, yeah, let's not focus on this one. You could tell what got love and what didn't.
Yeah, like Kirby got a better theme song. Sonic got a better theme song. Ninja Turtles got a better theme song. Ninja Turtles got better theme song. Stargate.
Like so many, but I mean, Fighting Foodons, no one knew what that was. So either or.
Heck, even that one Italian anime had a better theme song. What was it called again? The one that's kind of like Witch but isn't Witch. What was it called? Oh yeah, Winx Club.
The Winx Club.
Yeah. France got Kolyoko. Italy got Winx Club. I don't know if Canada did anything besides Oban Star Racer.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Anyways, but we'll always have Ultraman Tiga and his crazy theme song. He's the one 10 stories high, save the world. He's the hope for humankind, but now that hope for humankind is Blazar, and he is voiced by our man
Johnny Bosch, man. That's hopefully I get to see Johnny soon one day. It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, but we're gonna keep pestering him to become a Kamen Rider.
Yeah, definitely.
And Johnny Joestar, like while we're at it, because it's like, I mean, this wouldn't be the first character he played named Johnny.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we've had what's it called? What was that one show? Oh yeah, Space Dandy, where he played Johnny the rock star and the head of the Jicro Empire.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm surprised they didn't play an Ice Shine song for that one.
They should have.
Yeah, they should have. That's like imagine like having like the Jicro and the Gogol Empire fighting each other while like Space Dandy, Meow, and QT and Johnny just like singing Our Whole Lives Tonight. This is our whole lives tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that we can do this. I know that we can stand up and raise your voices. God damn, I haven't listened to that song in so long. Okay, but that's it for the comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Ding the bell icon for all of our latest videos. Obviously, we just started doing Ultraman reviews with Ultraman Blazar. So we got content for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. Tuesdays, Ultraman Blazar at 7 p.m., 10 p.m. Pacific and Eastern. And on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we got Kamen Rider Geats and not Kamen Rider Geats, Kamen Rider Gotchard and Osama Sentai King Oger on Wednesdays and Thursdays, respectively, at 7:30, 10:30 Pacific and Eastern. Also, at the end of the month, we are going to go back to doing Kamen Rider Amazons, and we're going to get started with Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. So stick around for that. And be sure to check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do movie reviews, video game news. And you could check out our friend Steve right here, where we did the Netflix One Piece series, which just got renewed for a second season.
Got renewed for another 2.
And some rumors even say they got renewed for 6 more seasons. So
hey, let's just focus on number 2, okay?
Yeah, let's focus on number 2. We got Alabasta, we got Drum Island. Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a lot. So let's focus on that before we start going into Wano, people.
Yeah.
Chill out.
All right. Yeah, or Eggman Island or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that said, Steve, where can the ladies and gentlemen of the audience find you?
Of course, there's Facebook for Steve Boscos over on Facebook, and of course, the Sin Prince on Instagram, where I post just random assortment of things, random videos on stories, my artwork, cosplay work, and just maybe random talks about life and tokusatsu.
Awesome. And you could find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Boken_Kabuto. And with all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow for Kamen Rider Gotchard episode 3 as of the time of this recording. Until then, stay safe, stay hydrated, update your emergency kits. Happy Halloween season coming up. I know 2 days from now, we're going to get our autumn equinox, so can't wait for that. And you know, with all that said and more, we can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye.
Thank you.